You refused to take the vaccine.
I did. I refused.
And what kind of a turning point was that for you?
You know, I mean, my life definitely changed completely. It's like an awakening. I wouldn't even say it was that much of one. I mean, back in 2010, maybe, my ex, Shooter Jennings, he had an album called Black Ribbons. It's one of I think one of the best rock albums that have ever been made. And it's a concept album about the New World Order. And it was during the Bush administration. And we were super anti-Bush, but we were never political. And we got Stephen King to narrate it, wrote a lot of the narrations. He's a radio DJ, DJing from a pirated radio station on the last night before martial law sets in and the apocalypse begins, type of thing. And there's a song called Summer of Rage where I made the video with him. And I was like, please let me do it with you. Please let me do it with you. And I used my daughter in the video. And it's about how her family is taken away and they leave, she's left to be raised by the televisions in the house. So every time she goes to leave the house, the televisions start yelling at her, no, stay here, look what I can do. And then a car explodes or a bomb goes off. And bath time, the TV says, come on, it's bath time. This is a baby, she's this big. It's bath time. She gets in the tub, the water's running itself in this house that now takes care of her, that has a mind of its own. And the premise of it was the TV would fall in the tub with her and kill her. And this was the message of the album. And in that song, it says, FEMA's building mass graves, you and I, they'll vaccinate. A gas mask is the couture in the summer of rage. So that's 2010. So the minute the world was about to shut down, and I'm getting like, the minute the world was about to shut down, I didn't believe it because it was written. My ex wrote it, you know, it was there. Like it was, I know these things have always been speculated if you were a conspiracy theorist or anything like, you know, whatever. But I really had my eye on that Bush administration at that time, the wars and 9/11, which I watched in person. It just, you know, I went down the rabbit hole. It was the first time we had computers. The MacBook came out, the big fat computer. It's weird to think about how things have progressed and changed. And that was the first moment of extreme technology, I felt like back then, where we could look up information and see awful things on the internet. And that was all this whole Osama bin Laden craziness. And man, were we misinformed back then. But it was the beginning of the information highway. What were we going to do with it? Were we going to use it for good or for not? Are we going to educate ourselves? Are we going to let them just pound information into our heads? I mean, where there's this information, there's that information. It's like, where do you go? And I felt like that when everyone was like, Drea, you can't go to Mexico. We were going to Mexico. The whole world's going to shut down tomorrow. And I was deathly ill. Obviously, I had COVID.
From COVID.
It must have been, but it was before. And I had been getting sick a lot before the shutdown. Chronic, like pneumonia symptoms.
Had to be COVID.
Huh?
Probably COVID, and they didn't diagnose it then, yeah.
Yeah, nobody knew, but I lived. I was okay, but it sounded like I had a squeak toy in my chest for a while. I was a smoker, and I didn't know how dangerous it all was, and of course, I'm just still smoking.
Just so you know, my father passed away February 2020. Healthy, 103, but healthy. Goes into 103. Goes into the hospital, and within 3 days he died. And they didn't know, it was February of 2020, so they really didn't talk about COVID yet. They didn't know what it was. It wasn't until March that they started to really talk about it. But I think they said he died of pneumonia, but I believe it was COVID.
Yeah, I mean, it was rampant at that. But what it is pneumonia with some
basically.
neurotoxins and some
Well, some man-made stuff in there.
Yeah, I mean, But yeah, that was really, I'm 103 though. That makes me very excited.
Yeah. I honestly think he would still be alive because he was in good health other than that.
You know what? That food that he was eating was probably better for him than the shit that we're eating out here.
No doubt.
You know, just
Well,
a
he was in,
few ingredients in
yeah.
those foods.
Well, he didn't eat much in there, you know. Neither did I. I mean, I watched what I ate, but yeah, I think he would still be alive because he didn't have really any health problems.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I said, "What happened? You know, how did it happen like that?" We were stunned.
You ready? You ready to be alive for a long time? Huh?
Hey, you know what? I am doing. I got a friend that calls me up and he said, "You got to come down to Costa Rica." I said, "Why?" He said, "I got a good friend of mine. He's a big follower of yours, and he owns a big stem cell therapy."
I'm coming
place."
with you.
Okay. So no, listen. I go right, and I get a complete. I mean, they do my face. I got the
Oh, you did it.
infusion. I got a plasma exchange, where they take all your old plasma out, new. If you see the bag of old plasma, you'll get sick.
Wow.
Because you know,
What does it look
plasma is
like?
clear, like that water.
Yeah.
And when you see what they take out of you, you're gonna go, "Oh my gosh, all the toxins and everything
It's
that
green.
they put out." Yeah, brown, and it's just ugly. And I don't smoke. You know, I'm pretty healthy. So I do that, and then they give you the stem cell infusion because it takes better when you don't have all that garbage in your system. And then I had a pain in my neck, and a pain in my back. So they gave me the stem cell injections, and it's gone. I'm telling you, it's gone. So this stuff really works. And I'll tell you this, Drea, if you can live another 5, 7, 10 years, you're going to be able to live past 100 and in good health.
Wow.
I'm telling you, they got this secret, and I went through their whole lab and everything else. It's amazing. So I've been telling all my friends.
Oh, I want to know more about it.
Yeah, I'll put you in touch with Dan. You talk to him about it. See what you think about it. And at the appropriate time, I definitely recommend it. So I'm gonna go like once a year.
Wow.
Yeah. And my wife did it.
I mean, it can get dicey though. It can get a little dangerous too, right? No.
I don't think so. No.
No?
No.
I mean, I just want to go to Costa Rica. I'll go just to go to Costa
It
Rica.
was really nice. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
No, I
You
don't
should
think
advertise it on the podcast.
Well, you know what? He's a big follower of mine. He says, "Michael, you know, we can work a deal out together." And I said, "Okay."
expensive.
Yeah, it is expensive. I mean,
I had to.
obviously prices come down later on, but I like this place because he has the lab also. He knows where the stem cells are coming from.
Right.
Because some of these places, they just get them from wherever. But he actually gets them from the umbilical cord, brings them into his lab, and does whatever they have to do to make sure they're, you know, perfect.
Oh, I have all my umbilical cords too.
Do you really?
The kids.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they're
In my
preserved,
fridge.
obviously.
I'm just kidding.
No, not.
Like Abramovic.
Well, you know, at another time I'll give you the info. You talk to Dan and take it from there. But where were we going with this? Anyway,
so pandemic, like.
Yeah, so you decided not to take the vaccine.
Yeah, and I was as afraid as everybody was during the pandemic. Who knew? You know, we didn't know, but I knew. Who knew? But every day I was like, this is a bioweapon. That plane hit the World Trade Center. It exploded way too fast. I couldn't, like all of these, and I never listened to anything. I never even knew who, I just started listening to him this week, Alex Jones. I mean, so I wasn't even on that. I mean, he loved Shooter's album, so he started playing that on his show, but I never paid attention to him really. Because I knew that a lot of it was just like, I don't want to get afraid. I just want to live my life, you know? But I just knew it was bullshit. I knew that how do you shut the whole world down in symphony? I just couldn't get with it. So when the vaccine, when the problem came out and they offered the solution, I knew it was a one world government situation. And that was it. So I knew that there was no way I'd take the vaccine, but I spiraled out of control mentally over, you know, with fear that I would lose everything. And I did. I mean, look, a mandate, a fucking government mandate.
Tell you what you have to put in your body.
My body, my choice. I've always been my body, my choice. You know, it doesn't go both ways. Either you believe it or you don't. That's my message to liberal women. Like, get off your fucking high horse. This is not, you want to stand on that platform, then you better stand by it. You know, and another thing, you know, that's a whole other topic, the way they throw that topic around with pro-choice stuff. But
yeah, why doesn't it apply in everything?
yeah, but even just the way they're maniacs, and it's like, so you're, and I'm a pro-choice person. You know, I grew up super hippie liberal, but at the same time, I understand both sides, and I have no problem with both sides, but I'm not an extremist. So these liberal women that are so extreme about this, their abortion rights, to me is, I mean, that's a whole other topic that we can talk about another time. I jump around into everything, but it all started to feel very hypocritical. And now you're taking a topic that everybody held so dear to their hearts, which was pro-choice, and you just bastardized it. They bastardized everything, man. Just everything. And watching people separate at the start of BLM, that was another turning point for me. And it just, you know, when your little kid looks at you and she's watching the news and Don Lemon's telling everybody they're racists and all her friends are Black and Hispanic, and she looks at, and she was raised, you know, I was raised by a Nicaraguan lady, not just my mom, because my mom, you know, she didn't want to be Italian, the Italian housewife. She wanted to do her thing. So she's like, here's your nanny. This is your life now. So hearing that, you know, she's like, Mommy, am I racist? And I'm like, I have to research everything now because I don't know how to answer my kid. I don't know what the right answer is. I don't want to give her some flip answer so that she can, you know, kids go to school and they start talking about stuff. I have to make sure this kid is well informed, understands both sides of a situation, where everyone's coming from, with the vaccine, with this BLM thing, then Ukraine, Russia, and then and what's this war, Mommy? And I'm like, I then never, you know, they should have given me a script to research. I always joke around. They should have just let me keep working, because I would have researched that script a lot for hours. Instead, I researched everything that this generation would ask a question about. And man, I mean, and that's how I feel like I became the rat again. You know, I was sleeping before. Just let me sleep. You know, I questioned the Bush thing. We made a piece of art about it. It wasn't balls to the wall, let's go out and try to change the world. I ended up in a situation where I did things that I never thought I would do to keep my home.
Well, they wouldn't let you work because you wouldn't get the vaccine.
No, and
you know, my daughter's a dancer, and she was quite prolific, and she wouldn't get the vaccine, and that's it.
Really?
Wouldn't let her rehearse, wouldn't let her audition, let her do anything. So she said, I don't care, I'm not doing it.
You know, like, okay, so she's your daughter, she can come back here. If my dad were alive, I would have been able to go back home if he wouldn't have, you know, told me, go fuck yourself, you should have done this, like my brothers. Like my brother, one of them was like, I can't help you with anything, you know, you could have taken care of yourself. And, you know, definitely he didn't think that it was a good idea for me not to get vaccinated. He thought I was hurting my family, my kids, myself. But I ended up, well, the agent dropped me. It wasn't like I was on a show and got kicked off. So people always say to me, you were canceled. I'm like, no, I was never canceled. I canceled myself so that nobody could jump to it. Because let me do that. I'm in control of me. You know, I didn't take the vaccine. I'm in control. I'm not going to take your jobs. I will take myself out of Hollywood. Goodbye. It's fine. So I'm in control. And that was important to me to know that. But my life had spun out of control because I lost my earning potential. And I was taking care of my Nicaraguan nanny who was on her way out. She was dying. That was the last job I was offered before the mandates, and I didn't take it because she was dying. And I'll never forget, you know, and it kind of goes, all of these things sort of combine. She was laying next to me, and I'm reading with the people for this job that I can't even believe I would read for this thing. I never really read for anything, but I read for this kind of a piece of shit project, and I was like, God, this is what my life is now. And I'm holding her hand, and I'm reading here, and my agent calls me right after, and she said, they just want to know how soon you think it'll be before your mom dies. And I'm like, you know what? Just pass. I don't want to do the job. The job is beneath me anyway. I don't want it. It would have been good money. I would have survived for the next 3 years because that's how I work. I take a job that will support me for 3 years, and then I don't work because I don't like it. Like you say, you don't want to do certain things. I'm like, I don't really like acting. I was good at it. I did good. Sopranos was great. What I like doing is being a mom. I like being home. I like just being a kind of a housewife, you know, even though I have my Letty, who I joke around, is my husband. She's my husband. I'm the husband. She's the housewife. I just want to be home with my family. That's it. So I always take jobs when I absolutely just need the money. That's it. I let the money run out and then I take another job. And the jobs are always there and it's fine. Now the jobs are not going to be there. And I took a forbearance, which everyone told me to take, which I should have never. Oh yeah, the government's got your back. Oh, the government's got your back. I wish I would have been paying closer attention to Ronald Reagan before I took that forbearance. And they screwed me.
Yes.
They screwed me and I ended up owing thousands and thousands of dollars and I couldn't get out from it. I borrowed money from the real estate company because they wanted the sale to my home. I was in foreclosure. Were my choices not the best leading up to it? Sure, they weren't. I should have just worked steadily, but I'm a single mom and I would never leave my kids with a nanny because I was left with a nanny and I just wouldn't do that. So these were my sacrifices that I had to make. And I was like, it's okay. They'll take the house, but we'll be together. They'll take the house, but we'll be together. We have to move to Savannah. They're going to mandate the vaccine for schools. We're going to move here. We're going to move there. We went everywhere to look at homes. Austin, Savannah. My kids were like switching schools nonstop. Shootouts at my daughter's school because we couldn't afford private school. So she's going to school with Bulletproof Backpack and Dystopia in LA. I'm like, what is happening? The whole world is crumbling. So, yeah, that's when my life changed. I'm no longer a Hollywood actor. I guess now all I do is talk about the truth and how I hate to say it, but how the government's just got a fucking foot on our necks all day long.
So what got you out of the mess?
I mean, I don't know if you want me to say that on your show.
Yeah.
You have a lot of Christian followers over here.
It's okay.
I mean, look, it doesn't matter really. And I'm going to out myself because, well, I shouldn't out myself. I should pretend like it's a really groovy porn page, but it's not. I went to OnlyFans. My kids actually were like, just do it. Just show your feet and just make a killing and they'll, you know, it's like clickbait, Mom. And I was like, all right. I did it because Robbie and I were going to do a podcast. We were going to do a political podcast on OnlyFans. I knew I wouldn't get censored there because I was getting censored too much when I did the podcast that you were on.
You said you can do a podcast on OnlyFans?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't. I've never been on the platform, so
there's a mix of the stuff people think it is, and then there's just like a fan page. I think it was originally intended to be more of a pay fan page. And then it turned into where girls were starting to do, you know, stuff. I always, my motto with it was, look, when I did it, everyone's like, just own it and, you know, be empowered. And I'm a 50-year-old woman who can still, you know, walk around in her underwear like Adriana. And I was like, no, but that's not the true story. I wasn't empowered. I was like, I did it out of desperation. And you were saying like, your daughter could have come home. I could have gone to my dad. I didn't have any of that to fall back on anymore. But the one thing I kept thinking about were the frontline workers and everybody that was a hero on television during the pandemic, the nurses, the doctors, the firefighters, the policemen, and they all lost their jobs. And who am I to sit here and bitch and moan that my big Hollywood house won't sell? I couldn't even sell the house. I was trying to sell the house to get out of everything, but then the house flooded. I mean, it's like, I believe it was God with all of it. I swear, God flooded my home. It was like, it was the insurance money and having to, it tortured, it was a torture chamber because I didn't know how to deal with insurance. I'd never had problems. These were adult problems. I was used to thinking money was just like, you know, whatever. I would give it to my friends. That's why I had none. I was like, I never really thought about it in terms of that. And all of a sudden I'm faced with like insurance claims and all this. That's probably what saved me in the long run. But people like,
Because you were able to keep the house at the end.
I was able to pay back. I lived in the mold, even though I'm sure my insurance company hears that now. I mean, maybe I was supposed to go and relocate for a few months, but I lived in the mold and I suffered and I got sick instead because I was like, I need that money to help me get out of this pinch here, and nobody would help me because I wouldn't get vaccinated.
Wow.
And I'm like an Italian man. I would never ask anybody for money. And I asked one person for money and it wasn't, that person offered to just pay the lawyer $4,000 to see if the lawyer could make some of my issues with my mortgage company even out. Because I was also paired up with like 3 insurance companies that weren't even paying my insurance. And they wanted full payment on everything back. And I didn't even owe those insurance companies. So it was like I said, it was hundreds of thousands of dollars that I didn't have. So I did the OnlyFans thing.
Did it work out?
It worked out. It worked out. We saved the house. And because of the OnlyFans thing, I ended up in the news nonstop. And I'd never really done that much press. I don't like doing press. And now I came out my manager sent me the press. It was only 3 things, three requests I had. And he said, I'm not responding. And I said, why? And he said, because I didn't start your OnlyFans page. And I'm not getting a kickback. And I'm like, you mother, really?
Real nice.
I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I've been with you for 20 years. You know what I'm going through. You didn't care that I didn't get vaccinated. The agent's the one who dropped me through the manager without even writing me, who I thought was my friend. She's like, just tell her that we're dropping her. There's nothing we can do. That was that.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, the blowback because of this vaccination. How many people suffered because they refused to get vaccinated?
I don't even care. I don't care about my suffering with it at all, because I look at these other people who did lose a lot and they're getting stuff back. I see that there's a play towards people being able to sue for losing their jobs. But what people can't get back, like this kid on Veterans Day, I saw Robbie posting something of this young girl. I go, what are you doing? And he goes, it's her GoFundMe. It's my friend's sister, this girl, Lindy, who is a veteran. I said, she's a child. How is she a veteran? Fucking military refused to allow her an honorable discharge if she left the military without getting vaccinated.
Yeah. That's all this woke garbage that they've
dishonorable
pushed.
Discharge she would have had. She got the vaccine and she's in a wheelchair. And I am like, I want to fight, because now that I've been fighting for the last 3 years with this whole thing, and then the election, and trying to convince people that they have it backwards and that everything's inverted.